Mastering Personal Finances, a guide to becoming a wise and faithful steward. Being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints offers so many advantages in meeting the ongoing challenges of life. First of all, a focus on Jesus Christ and His doctrine provides a stabilizing effect in making daily decisions that lead to a purposeful life. As I observe and experience the fast-paced world, I recognize some time-tested principles of wise financial planning and discipline that can help you avoid some difficult situations. And perhaps even more importantly, create an environment for you and your family to accomplish your goals and find peace and security in this unpredictable and somewhat unstable world. The church provides many tools that offer assistance. I would like to present some of these valuable principles by introducing you to the Self-Reliance Personal Finance Handbook. Let's start by considering a quote by President Hinckley. "I urge you to look to the condition of your finances. I urge you to be modest in your expenditures, discipline yourselves in your purchases to avoid debt to the extent possible. Pay off debt as quickly as you can, and free yourselves from bondage. This is a part of the temporal gospel in which we believe. May the Lord bless you to set your houses in order. If you have paid your debts, if you have a reserve, even though it be small, then should storms howl about your head, you will have shelter for your families, and peace in your hearts." I know what you may be thinking, sounds good, but how am I supposed to do that under the circumstances I find myself? That's why we are going to go step by step. Establish a plan that makes sense for you. The first place to start is to have a desire to learn and make an effort. It didn't take much reading in the Book of Mormon to realize Nephi had some overwhelming assignments also. How about going back for those plates or building a ship? Remember what Nephi taught us: the Lord provides a way to fulfill His commandments. Okay, just in case you are thinking, well, finances are not a commandment. Maybe, but I think we have been counseled by our prophet to be prudent and a wise steward. Based on my experience, those admonitions are always for my own well-being. Understanding your financial situation. Enough said, let's get started. How can you manage your money if you don't know where you spend your money? Activity. To gain a clear understanding of your spending habits and to manage your budget effectively, you can perform a detailed activity involving categorization and tracking of your expenses and income. Here's how to structure this activity. Step 1. Identify and categorize spending. 1. List common expense categories. Start by listing common categories where you typically spend money. Examples include tithes, offerings, transportation, entertainment, rent, mortgage, saving, restaurants, insurance, groceries, home utilities, cell phone, miscellaneous, for expenses that don't fit into the other categories. 2. Analyze and mark frequent expenses. Review your spending behavior and circle the categories where you find yourself spending frequently. This helps in identifying areas where you might want to cut back or monitor more closely. 3. Add categories as needed. If you notice recurring expenses that don't fit into the provided categories, add new ones that better represent your spending patterns. Step 2. Create a tracking table. 1. Set up a table in a spreadsheet or notebook. Prepare a table to record your transactions. The table should have columns for date, the date of the transaction. Description, a brief description of the transaction, e.g., paycheck or donation. Category, the category from your list that best fits the transaction. Income, amounts you receive, e.g., salary, gifts. Expense, amounts you spend. 2. Fill in the table. As you engage in financial transactions, record each one in the table. Here's how entries might look. Date, 6/1, description, paycheck, category, income, $1,500, expense, date, 6/2, description, donation, category, tithing, income, expense, $150, date, 6/2, description, Albertsons, category, groceries, income, expense, $120.45, date, 6/10, Description: Chevron, category, gasoline, car, income, expense, $44. Step 3. Review and adjust. 1. Monthly review. At the end of each month, review the table. Calculate the total income and expenses to see if you're staying within your budget. 2. Identify trends. Look for patterns in your spending. Are there categories where you consistently overspend? Are there unexpected expenses that might need their own category? 3. Adjust budget. Based on your observations, adjust your spending in certain categories or reallocate your budget to better suit your financial goals. This activity not only provides a snapshot of where your money goes but also helps you make informed decisions to optimize your financial health. By regularly updating and reviewing your expenditure table, you can maintain control over your finances and ensure that you are moving towards your financial goals. Financial Stewardship Success Map. As you listed your money spending categories, you may be tempted for the present time to skip tithes and offerings. I understand. Finding a way to pay tithing and fast offerings when the money doesn't stretch far enough is one of those tests of faith. Consider what Elder Dolin H. Oakes taught. The payment of tithing is a test of priorities. From the Personal Finance Handbook, as you show God your priorities, you will unlock greater opportunities for Him to bless you. The scriptures often emphasize that things must be done in order. There is a law, upon which all blessings are predicated, and when we obtain any blessing from God, it is by obedience to that law upon which it is predicated. D&C 130:20-21 Sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. Joshua 3 verse 5 Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, and prove me herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven, and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Malachi 3 verses 10-12. I am not saying this is easy. Depending on your background, your circumstances, and your experiences, this leap of faith may be a big one. I am old and have lived through many ups and downs along life's path. I can tell you that when I put God first and make Him a priority, I get the strength to do what is required. When what God has asked of me becomes more important than what I want, I look at things differently. And this has much more influence than just having the discipline to pay tithing. I find innovative ways of solving problems, discover untapped resources, and increase my ability to achieve my goals. It also impacts my desire to be more generous with time and talents. I become more understanding of others, more caring and less selfish. Tithing, in my opinion, is really God's way of giving us the ability to improve our character and reach our full potential. Budgeting made simple. So let's dig into making a budget. Keep in mind, from the handbook, following a budget will help you and your family take control of your temporal life, put off the natural man, see Mosiah 3:19, and invite the Spirit into your home. Budgeting can also help you to protect your family from hardship as you use it to allocate money for building an emergency fund, paying down debt, and saving for future expenses. It is important to remember that a budget must be flexible, continually adjusted and improved. Activity. To better organize and manage your finances, it's helpful to create a detailed budget that tracks your income, fixed expenses, variable expenses, and the remaining balance after accounting for these expenditures. Here's how you can set up this activity. 1. Prepare your category chart. Begin by distinguishing between fixed and variable expenses. Fixed expenses are regular payments that don't change from month to month, such as rent and insurance. Variable expenses fluctuate based on your usage and decisions, such as groceries and entertainment. 2. Create a budget table. Use a spreadsheet or notebook to make a table. Your table should have columns for description, type, indicating fixed F or variable V, income, expense, and balance. Here's how you can structure the table. Description: what the money is being used for, e.g., rent, groceries. Type: whether the expense is fixed, F, or variable, V. Income, record any income you receive. Expense, note the amount spent on each category. Balance, calculate the remaining balance by subtracting expenses from income cumulatively. 3. Fill in your budget table, start with your total income at the top. As you list each expense, subtract it from the running total to find the balance. If an entry doesn't involve an expense, like your initial income, leave the expense column blank. For income, leave the expense column blank and update the balance accordingly. Here's an example of what entries might look like. Description, income, type, leave blank, income, $1,000, expense, leave blank, balance, $1,000. Description, tithes, offerings, type, F, income, leave blank, expense, $110, balance, $890. Description, emergency fund, type, F, income, leave blank, expense, $50, balance, $840. Description, insurance, type, F, income, leave blank, expense, $80, balance, $760. Description, rent, type, F, income, leave blank, expense, $300, balance, $460. Description, groceries, type, V, income, leave blank, expense, $230, balance, $230. 4. Review and adjust. After listing all items, review your balance. If expenses exceed your income, as Elder Robert D. Hales suggests, it's a common situation and an opportunity to apply reasoning to solve financial problems. You might need to identify areas where expenses can be reduced or consider ways to increase your income. 5. Set goals and plan. With your budget laid out, set financial goals such as saving a particular amount or paying off debt. Adjust your spending habits according to your priorities and goals. This budgeting activity helps you visualize where your money goes each month, enabling you to make informed decisions about your finances and work towards financial stability. The Lord expects us to help solve our own problems. We are thinking, reasoning human beings. We have the ability to identify our needs, to plan, to set goals, and to solve our problems. From the handbook. There are 2 ways to fix this challenge: earn more income, or spend less money. Knowing where your family finances really stand is essential for successful financial stewardship. Elder Joseph B. Warflin taught, those who live safely within their means know how much money comes in each month, and even though it is difficult, they discipline themselves to spend less than that amount. And don't forget about Nephi when he was told by the Lord to build a ship. And now if the Lord has such great power and has wrought so many miracles among the children of me, how it is that he cannot instruct me, that I should build a ship. 1 Nephi 17:51. Now, I Nephi, did not work the timbers after the manner which was learned by men, neither did I build the ship after the manner of men, but I did build it after the manner which the Lord had shown unto me, wherefore, it was not after the manner of men. And I, Nephi, did go into the mount oft, and I did pray oft unto the Lord, wherefore the Lord showed unto me great things. 1 Nephi 18:2-3. Did you catch that? He did pray often and the Lord showed him great things. That can work for you as you figure out how to build, in way of speaking, your ship. For example, the handbook suggests using the envelope system, or digital app. Envelope system, or use a digital app system. The cash envelope system is simple. Immediately after being paid, you place the amount of money you have allotted to spend in each budget category into its own envelope. For example, you have budgeted $400 for the groceries category this month. When you receive your pay for the month or week, deposit that amount, in cash, into an envelope labeled groceries. No money comes out of that envelope except to pay for food. In another envelope, place the budgeted amount for your transportation expenses. Fixed expenses such as tithing could be paid online and rent paid by check. The remaining income turned into cash and placed into the category envelopes. Do not spend more than you have budgeted. When the envelope is empty, you are done. If you must spend more in that category, you will have to take it out of another envelope. Eliminate debt. Debt is borrowing money that is not yours. It typically comes with a cost, known as interest. Interest is a percentage of the amount owed. You end up paying more for what you borrowed, sometimes a lot more. Debts come with expected payments and an overall expectation to repay all that you borrowed plus interest. Debt problems did not begin in the current credit card era. It seems that obstacle has been around for a very long time. Back in 1941, President Heber J. Grant taught, "If there is any one thing that will bring peace and contentment into the human heart, and into the family, it is to live within our means. And if there is any one thing that is grinding and discouraging and disheartening, it is to have debts and obligations that one cannot meet." Back in the day I was raising a family, I too felt the weight of debt. When a car was purchased and paid by installment, we were issued an installment book. Each month, a page was torn from the book and mailed into the finance company. Every time I pulled a coupon from that book, and watched the number reduced, I sighed with relief. I always worried about a job layoff or an unexpected expense that would prevent me from making that payment. I agree with the following statement from the handbook. In order to do anything difficult, including getting out of debt, your desire must be stronger than the obstacles. Elder Dolin H. Oakes taught, when we have a vision of what we can become, our desire and our power to act increase enormously. Ensign May 2011, to find success, focus on your goal to get out of debt and visualize what life will be like when you are free from the burden of debt. Elder Neil A. Maxwell taught, what we insistently desire, over time, is what we will eventually become. Ensign November 1996. Stop incurring more debt. I must admit, you face additional finance challenges. I could not have imagined that companies would actually send in the mail a credit card. And not only that, but stores offer instant credit and encourage credit card use. Taking out a loan was a serious obligation, and an individual was scrutinized to make sure they could repay the debt. Now it is so easy to step into that bondage trap. You have to be alert and take seriously your commitment to stop incurring more debt. From the handbook, there are 2 simple steps to stop incurring debt. 1. Build an emergency fund. 2. Quit using credit cards and consumer loans. First, continue to build an emergency fund until you have 3 to 6 months' worth of expenses saved. Use this money when needed rather than credit. But remember to use it only for actual emergencies and to budget for everything else. Second, stop relying on consumer debt and credit cards. Elder Jeffrey R. Holland suggested financial plastic surgery. He said, "This is a very painless operation, just cut up your credit cards." No convenience known to modern man has so jeopardized the financial stability of families, especially young struggling families, like the credit card. Ensign, June 1986. That emergency fund is a big deal. You will be amazed at the motivation it creates as the savings start to build. The first time you have some unexpected expense occur and realize you have it covered without the stress of thinking you have to put it on a credit card, you will acknowledge the wise choice you made. That sense of security keeps you from dipping into that fund for non-essential items. Pay off your debts. We have covered a lot of ground in this brief process. But, in reality, it will take some time and trial and error to accomplish these recommendations. But determining how you spend your money, listing the categories, and deciding where you can make more frugal spending decisions are major breakthroughs. Tackling your emergency fund and getting into a financial situation where you no longer incur more debt will set you up for the next step. To actually start paying off your debts. Believe me, this part is rewarding. Here is a way forward from the handbook. 1. Decide to pay extra toward your debts. 2. Decide where to pay extra. 3. Use the rollover method. 4. Take additional steps as needed. Paying more than the minimum payments will shorten the time it takes to get out of debt and will save you a lot of money in interest. Here are a couple of options for deciding which debts should be paid first. You can pay extra toward the debt with the highest interest first, or pay extra toward the debt with the lowest balance first. The rollover method is a great way to pay off your debts. Pay an extra $100 a month toward your debts. When you pay off a debt, roll it over to pay down other loans. This is where you really start to get out of debt more quickly. Activity. To manage and strategize your debt repayment effectively, begin by listing all your current debts in a structured format. You can use a spreadsheet or a notebook for this purpose. Detail each debt with the following information. 1. Description, a brief identifier for the debt, such as credit card number 1 or car payment. 2. Balance, the current total amount you owe for that debt. 3. Interest rate, the annual percentage rate, April, applied to the debt, which affects how much extra you pay beyond the principal balance. 4. Monthly payment, the amount you are required to pay each month towards settling that debt. Here's an example of how to list your debts. Description, credit card number 1, balance, $4,000, interest rate, 17%, monthly payment, $97. Description, credit card number 2, balance, $6,500, interest rate, 19%, monthly payment, $168. Description, car payment, balance, $5,000, interest rate, 3%, monthly payment, $145. Once you have listed all your debts in this format, analyze the data to determine the most strategic order for paying them off. Consider these common strategies. A. Debt avalanche method. Focus on paying off the debts with the highest interest rates first while maintaining minimum payments on others. This method minimizes the amount of interest paid over time. B. Debt snowball method. Start by paying off the smallest debts first to gain momentum and psychological wins, gradually working your way up to the larger debts. Decide which approach makes the most sense for your financial situation and goals. For example, if you choose the debt avalanche method and follow the list above, you might prioritize paying off credit card number 2 first due to its higher interest rate, thereby reducing the overall interest you'll pay over time. If you come to the realistic conclusion that you are having a difficult time making minimum debt payments, then you may need to take additional measures. From the handbook. 1. Find extra or better work. 2. Sell some things that you can live without. 3. Downsize. Sometime your best move is to move, literally. A less expensive home, apartment, or car may be a good option. 4. Refinance debt. In some circumstances it is possible to refinance your loans at a lower interest rate or to consolidate several of them to a single loan with a lower interest rate. 5. Find help from mentors or financial counselors. Seeking divine guidance. Challenges will undoubtedly arise as you apply these principles of successful financial stewardship. As you continually seek the Lord's help, you will be strengthened to overcome those difficulties. Amulek taught the poor among the Zoramites to cry unto the Lord over the crops of your fields, that ye may prosper in them. Cry over the flocks of your fields, that they may increase. Alma 34:24-25. As you counsel with the Lord about your temporal needs and challenges and work toward financial self-reliance, He will bless you and strengthen you. About the teacher. Marilynn Clark is currently serving as the Ward Emergency Preparedness Specialist. Her concern and focus is to be prepared for what may occur. It could be a power outage, an unexpected medical condition, or a change in job status. Utilizing sound judgment and incorporating stabilizing financial principles proved beneficial to her and her family as they have met life's challenges and capitalized on opportunities. I believe in God, our eternal Father in heaven. I am grateful for God's plan and for His Son, Jesus Christ, who is vital to the successful outcome of the plan. I understand that the lessons learned in this mortal state of our progression is critical to reaching the full measure of our creation. Scripture tells us that the glory of God is intelligence. Therefore, knowledge and the wisdom to use it is at the center of our journey here on earth.